So the recipe today is a simple recipe. It's chicken pasanda. So I've got 500 gram of chicken thighs here that I've roughly chopped up. I haven't bothered taking the fat off or anything. And I'm going to make a marinade with about 4 tablespoons full of Greek yogurt. That should be enough, 3, 4. So I'm adding to that a teaspoonful of cashmere chili powder, a teaspoonful of turmeric, a teaspoonful of garam masala, and a teaspoonful of salt. And now it all wants mixing up until the chicken is completely coated. So a good stir around to mix all the spices and the yogurt and the chicken till it's all coated. And the next thing is to leave it for 30 minutes minimum, a few hours if you can. I'm going to leave this overnight. Right, so for the next part of making a pasanda, I'm going to put in a good glug, about 3-4 tablespoons of mustard oil. You can use ordinary vegetable oil or ghee if you want. It's a spicy recipe. It's not based on heat like a curry. So the first thing we have to do is I'm putting in 5 or 6 cloves, same of cardamom pods, and a cinnamon stick. So I've let the spices sizzle for a bit just to put some flavour into the oil. And the next thing is onions, or shallots in this instance. About 4 or 5, oh, that's quite a lot, 4 or 5 shallots, or 2 or 3 fairly medium large onions. And I'm just going to put these on to fry. You know the routine if you follow my channel. Put them on to fry until they start turning a golden colour. I learnt to cook Asian food working in hotel kitchens and restaurants as a hippie travelling around India. Sometimes stayed in villages giving impromptu English lessons, sitting alongside the village bibbies learning to cook, or as I say, working as a slave, sometimes sleeping in the kitchens as well, being paid in basically food and accommodation. So most of my recipes aren't based on what they call BIR, British Indian restaurant cooking, where they're just making a base gravy. All mine is cooked from scratch. Right, so the next thing, now the onions are about cooked, is 2 good tablespoons full of garlic and ginger paste. This needs cooking for about 2 minutes. Just give it a good mix around. Right, now the important part. The chicken that we marinated and left for a few hours, or overnight in my case. Add that now. I've turned down the heat, we don't need it mad hot anymore. I think I mentioned it earlier, but a pasanda is basically like a korma. It's a spicy Moghul Empire, Persian-based recipe. But unlike a korma, a pasanda is always marinated. So let that cook for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to add the thing that makes a pasanda stand out by adding about 2 or 3 tablespoonfuls of double cream. Right, and now we need to add the special ingredient that makes a pasanda have its unique flavour, and that's almonds. I soaked about 2 tablespoonfuls of almonds in some milk for about 20 minutes and then put them through the blender to turn into a paste, an almond paste. So that's my homemade, nothing special, almond paste. If you've got almond powder, almond flour, I think you can use that instead. But it's so simple just to buy a bag of shelled almonds and make up your own as you need it. The same bag I'm going to be toasting a few as a garnish later. Right, so let's mix all that in. So the next thing is the spices. Let's turn down the heat a little. So I've got a teaspoonful of Kashmiri chili pepper, a teaspoonful of turmeric, a teaspoonful of powdered cumin powder, a couple of teaspoonfuls of garam masala, and a teaspoonful of coriander. So let's put all those in, give them a good stir round. All dried spices need cooking for a few minutes to get rid of the raw, powdery flavour. Right, so that's had a good mix. The heat has been turned down to just a simmer. So I'm just adding a couple of cups of hot water, taking advantage of the water to rinse out the grinder. Incidentally, don't be tempted to add salt. The salt was in the marinade we made that the chicken stood in, so it don't need any extra salt. I may add a bit of pepper, black pepper later for flavour, but definitely no more salt. Right, so my last task for the time being is to put the lid on and leave it to simmer for about 45 minutes. Right, so the pasanda's been simmering for about 45 minutes. The chicken's cooked through. The sauce is about where I want it. So it's time to turn off the heat and think about plating it up. Right, so here's my finished pasanda. All it needs is a sprinkling of coriander out the garden, and I've toasted some chopped almonds. Just tossed them round in a dry pan till they've got a bit of colour. And that's it. My version of a chicken pasanda. No base gravy. Just good, solid, traditional Indian cooking technique. Marinated chicken, a simple sauce, almond paste to give it that nutty flavour, accompanied by simple boiled basmati rice with chopped coriander and toasted almonds.